And he sits me in the back of the police car, and then they proceed to completely field strip my BMW right there on the side of the highway. Here's a story about getting pulled over, going 25 over with a stolen gun, and leaving away without getting a ticket. It was many years ago, and my girlfriend, who would later become my wife at the time, it was our 6-year anniversary, and I thought it was time that I should ask her to get married. Now, she lived in a town called Augusta, Georgia, about 2 hours east of where I lived in Athens, Georgia. And we had met in Athens. I lived in Athens. I loved that town. I did not really care much for Augusta, and I thought the best way to ask her would be in Athens, therefore to put a little more sentimental attachment to Athens than Augusta. But the problem was we were about to go on vacation, and I was going to pick her up from her hospital job late at night, and she worked in the ER. I was going to pick her up late at night in Augusta, and then we were going to leave from there. Well, how do I get her back to Athens? I concocted this story where I would leave my luggage accidentally in Athens, forcing us to swing back through Athens on our way on vacation. And then that would give us cause to be back in Athens, and I'd pop the question, and it'd be Athens and all that. So that was the plan. So it's Friday night. I've gotten off of work. I've gone home and packed. I've staged a few things up. I got the cheap little ring I got for her, put it in a box, put it in my pocket, get dressed to go, get in the car, and I leave out from Athens, heading towards Augusta. Now, she got off work at 3 in the morning from the hospital. It's about a 2-hour drive. I left at about 1 o'clock, so I have very little margin. So I've gone through the country roads. Now I'm on I-20, heading east towards Augusta. And I-20 out there is just as straight as an arrow for 100 miles. And I'm going not crazy fast, but my usual, 20, 25 over. And sure enough, I get pulled over. It's Georgia State Patrol, and they turn the lights on. I pull over, and I'm in the black E34 BMW 5 Series from the carjacking story. I've never been a particularly stylish guy, but at the time, I think I just had some comfy clothes on, which would have been like a little kind of tilty brim pimp type hat, a big wide collar 70s shirt, a bunch of piercings, big baggy pants. I had some white leather shoes on, I think. I looked more like an extra from Starsky and Hutch, not the typical professional type person you would normally encounter driving a 5 Series BMW at the time. Police officer walks up to the car, looks in the back seat with the flashlight, looks at me, probably immediately determines I don't really match this particular car. He says, "Where are you heading?" And I said, "I'm going to Augusta, pick up my girlfriend, take her on vacation." He said, "You just carrying that briefcase?" There was a briefcase sitting in the seat beside me. I said, "No, sir, that's just some things I travel with." And he said, "Will one of those things happen to be a firearm?" I said, "Yes, sir, it does." And again, I know I got rights. I know a lot of you people out there will say, "Oh, you wouldn't have told him anything." But I've found, after having my car searched many times, they will show up with a dog. They will find a reason. They will get the warrant. They will eventually search your car. You can save yourself a lot of time. If you don't have anything to hide, just let them search the car. So I said, "No problem." I said, "There's a handgun in this briefcase. It's registered to me, or it's owned by me." I said, "Would you like to take a look?" He said, "Yes, sir, I would." So I just handed him the briefcase. So he takes the gun out of the briefcase, takes it back to his car, and he's gone for several minutes. And I'm thinking, no big deal. It's my gun. He's just doing standard procedure. He comes back and he says, "Where'd you say you were going again?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to pick up my girlfriend. We're going to go on vacation." He said, "If I looked in your trunk, would I find any luggage?" I said, "No, sir, you wouldn't." And he said, "Before you tell me the rest of that story, I'm going to ask you to step out of the car. You were not under arrest, but I'm going to place you in handcuffs just while we ascertain a few things." He takes me back and stands me at the back of the car and proceeds to look through the car. And of course, there's nothing in the car. And he gets a radio call, and another police officer shows up, and another police officer shows up, and they consult on the radio. And he said, "Mr. Michaels, I'm going to have to place you in the back of my police car." And he sits me in the back of the police car, and then they proceed to completely field strip my BMW right there on the side of the highway. And again, nothing in there. Some tools, a few things, tire gauge, sketchbook, nothing nefarious. He comes back, gets me out of the police car, and he said, "Okay, now it's your turn to tell your story." He said, it's 2:30 in the morning. You claim you're going on vacation, but you're heading east to Augusta in a car with no luggage in it, and the gun you're carrying is stolen. I can explain all of this. That gun was stolen from my house, which is on my driver's license, in 1992. It was recovered. I'm going to guess it was never marked as being recovered, but if you will cross-reference that address with the police report it was stolen from, you will find that they match. I am driving to Augusta at 2:30 in the morning because my girlfriend works in the hospital. She gets off work at 3. I'm going to ask her to marry me tonight, but I didn't want to have any more emotional attachment to Augusta than is necessary. I live in Athens, so I thought I would be clever. Forget my luggage in Athens. Pick her up. Tell her I forgot my luggage. Then we got to go back through Athens. We're going to go back to Athens, get my luggage, and I'm going to ask her to marry me with, as I'm handcuffed, with this ring right here in my pocket. He looks in my pocket. There's obviously a ring box. He reaches in, pulls out. Sure enough, there's a cheap little ring in the box. He kind of looks at me for a second, gets on the radio. I guess they confirm whatever the story is about the address that the gun was stolen. And he comes back. He said, you're doing 25 over the speed limit. I said, yes, sir. She doesn't like it when I'm late. He said, what time did she get off? I said, 3. Now, it's now 4 o'clock in the morning at this point. I said, and this is again, 90s. This is before cell phones. I said, yeah, I was supposed to pick her up at work about an hour and 20 minutes ago. Well, good luck with that. I'm not going to give you a ticket tonight. Congratulations. And he proceeded to unhandcuff me, and I got back in my car, and I went to Augusta and ended up married to my wife at the time.